From this program, we've learned the timeline of events right from the beginning of 1992 to 95, and the former Yugoslavia and what is now the separate Federation of Republics. And we've got an insight from some of the survivors. We've been to the various sites where the genocide has happened, and we've learned from the people themselves, from the Bosnian Muslims, the situation, how it was, and how the whole of the countries across the world completely ignored what the situation was like, and the support was not provided which should have been, in terms of helping one another, helping humans. They said they'd help, but in the end it was nothing like they promised. I think when I go back, I'm going to try hard to create awareness about the fact that we shouldn't just be we shouldn't close ourselves to our own communities, and we should learn about what's going on in other countries across the world, understand conflicts, why conflicts arise, and how we can, with peace, overcome these conflicts and prevent things like wars and this whole situation of genocide and dehumanization. Find ways to prevent this kind of thing from happening.
Before we came to Bosnia, I didn't know anything at all. I barely even knew where Bosnia was on the map, let alone that I had this sort of conflict behind it. And so recently as well, which is just unbelievable, because the scale of it, like, it wasn't anything small. It lasted for years, and the fact that I got to the age of 16 and I didn't know anything about it is just shocking. What have I learned? What have I learned being here is just how fragile human life is, and civilization. Like, it took nothing to completely destroy this country. And what I learned is that you can't put trust in other countries like we think we can. They obviously did nothing here, and at the end of the day, conflicts happen all the time, and sometimes they're awful, and there's nothing we can do apart from remember them, because we can look back, but we can't help now. It's too late. We lost our chance. So the only thing we can do is make sure we try harder next time. What do I want to do when I get back to England? I think the least I can do is try and tell more people about it, because 8,000 people died here, and if people don't even remember them, then they died for nothing anyway, but if people don't even bother to remember them, then it's even worse than nothing, because they're completely erased from history. So what I'll try to do is try and get as many people as possible to remember how many people were here and how many people lost their life.
Honestly, I didn't know anything about Srebrenica before I came here. I knew a little bit about Bosnia and Bosnians, but that's only because of the stereotypes that we had back in the UK. When you see them begging on the streets, you think, Bosnians, the immigrants have come from some country that I don't even know where it is. But coming here, I've learnt that what you hear from the media, what you hear from mainstream people back home isn't necessarily true. And I've just learnt that the whole situation is completely different to what I thought it was before. Just what I've learnt here so far is that the world isn't always as great as you imagine it to be when you're a kid, when you're a teenager. In your early adult life, you should try and understand the world around you, but the more you try to understand it, the more disappointed you feel, especially in the countries that you look up to. And looking at Srebrenica and Bosnia as an example, it was let down by the whole world. And for me, what's shocking is being around Bosnia and Srebrenica. I felt like it was something back in the 1940s, 1950s. You wouldn't think that it was so recent. It happened at the time that I was born, and I can't help thinking what my parents were just normal, 30-year-olds driving their cars, living a normal life, and just not too far away from their homeland. This was happening. It's just crazy and shocking. I think the first thing that I would do is try and raise awareness, because I know a lot of my friends don't know anything about it, just like I didn't know anything about it. and it's very important that we don't forget, and we never forget Srebrenica, and we apply it to the conflicts that are happening around the world and try and remember them, so that we can at least, on a small scale, make sure that our hearts don't harden towards it like many people's did back in the 90s.